Hi, it's odeean here. Today I've got a bunch of carded NECA figures which I just need to clear out these bubbles because they are so space filling and I don't really care about NECA packaging. So here's what I got. Let's get them open. First up I have Jungle Extraction Dutch, which is a figure of Arnold Schwarzenegger from the Predator movie. It's a really nice figure. I had this on card for so long I didn't feel the need to open it because it just looks so good. But anyway, when you get it out, you can see there's a little bit of shininess on the plastic, and that's because of this hard plastic that NECA always seem to use. Now, I like the plastic, it's pretty durable stuff, but if you have a point source of light, like making a video, it does gleam a little bit. The likeness is very good, even up close like this. It's got that gruff, bearded look that Arnold has, and you know, if it wasn't for the clothes, you could just about fit this figure into almost any Schwarzenegger movie from that period. He looks really fantastic there. His eyes are pretty much looking in the same direction, chomping on a cigar. Pretty nice. He's got nice little detailing, like grenades hooked onto his pockets here at the front. The stitching on his shirt is done pretty well, along with the tight lines from where his bulging muscles under there are stretching out that shirt. It's pretty good. Gloves on the hand, holding on to this rifle. You can see the rifle there is detailed nicely with that dry brushing to give it a real metallic kind of look. I've already popped his accessories on, so you can see he's got this holster. Get that out of the way. And pull this one out. Nice little pistol. He can also hold that in his hand. Further down, we've got a big machete, which is sheathed, working sheath there. That looks pretty cool. They've done it so that the sheath isn't too fat too. I really like that sheath, it's good. Some companies go for alternate pieces, but when they can manage to incorporate it all in a working piece, I do like that a little bit better, I think. And finally, his last accessory is this kind of knife at the side here, just a smaller one, also a working sheath. Dutch has a good degree of posability. Nothing amazing, like no double joints or anything like that, but everything you could need from a figure of this size. I mean, the sculpt is so nice, I would not want to break it up with a double joint there, to be honest, and I'm pretty happy with the degree of posability. Kind of crunchiness there at the ab. The shirt is actually a bit flexible. Now, you can't see muscles up there, it just goes, it's like the stomach going up into the section there, but it has the nice effect of looking like clothes. At the front here, it looks nice and tight, like that cut wouldn't be enough to move, but you can see as you move the thigh up, it's a very flexible plastic that does move with the pants leg, so it maintains the illusion there. It does spring back after a little while into its original position. That's really nice. Now down here, the foot is weird. I haven't seen this done before, but you can see that the boot has an ankle cut in it, and it does give you some posability. It can look weird if you do that, but just with little movements, it does look pretty good. I think overall, it's done really well. So that's Jungle Extraction Dutch. The next figure is Jungle Encounter Dutch. Now, to me, this is the weakest of the three Arnold figures that I got in this batch. I think the reason being is that there seems to be a bit of colour mismatch between the face and the body. It could be understandable if he's been walking out in the jungle with all his uniform on and just his head poking out. That may explain it, but it does look a little bit weird to me. He's basically much the same figure. I think the lower body is the same accessories, same rifle, same knives, same posability down there, and it looks pretty cool. The upper body is where we get a difference, so these arms and the chest, like torso, that's all new. This piece feels like it could come off, but it really doesn't. I get the feeling that this ammo vest or whatever it is has been put on after, or before rather, the limbs, which might be how they got it on. If you're willing to just give it a little snip, you could probably get a shirtless Arnold there. Look at his muscles. So he's got a good sculpt underneath that. So if you did want to take that off and have bare-chested Arnold, you could definitely do that. But as I said, just the colouring makes this probably my least favourite of the batch. The third Arnold Schwarzenegger figure is Jungle Disguise Dutch. This is an amazing effect that they've got there. You can see the dry leaves stuck onto the mud on his body. It's really very nice. It might be the same sculpt, just kind of retooled a bit to have the mud, or they might have gone from scratch. It's a bit hard to tell. It's got pretty much the same posability. The pants down the bottom have a different paint job. If I grab these and compare them, I think that the pants are the same, just with a bit of different paintwork on it. Now, he's lost his accessories through all his troubles, so he's got no knives, no rifle or anything like that, but he does come with a bunch of different stuff. The first of which is this rolled up leaf that he's used to put gunpowder in from his grenades, I think they were. So that's cool. He wears that as a necklace. This amazing torch, it's really fantastic. The fire effect is just great. That's from when he lights the big bonfire to attract the predator in the final confrontation. Now I'm just amazed with that. It looks really good in hand. The sculpting is great, and the materials, they pull it off perfectly. Then we get this whole bunch of stuff here, and you can see that these are really thin pieces of plastic, but they're dead straight. And the reason they've stayed nice and straight and not broken, not bent, is that NECA were nice enough to include a special tray just for all the straight thin bits to keep them from being wrecked in package. We get the stick with an explosive tip that Arnold throws at the predator while he's in front of the fire to try and blow him up. A different stick with Arnold's knife lashed onto the top. Now, I think this is where Arnold goes into the cave, and then when the predator's stalking him from behind, he blows up that gunpowder in the leaf around his neck and throws this back to get the predator. I think that's what happens. 3 ordinary arrows that he's made. Some little metal tips, it looks like there. Very straight. These feel like a little bit hard plastic to keep that straightness, so they probably will snap if you're too rough on them. They're not the usual flexible stuff that NECA use. 1 arrow with an explosive tip on the top. And the huge bow that we see Dutch making in the movie. Now, it feels like you could pull it back. That's a bit flexible, but it is plastic, and too much tension will snap it off at this point. So I'm not going to be pulling it back too hard, but it looks so powerful. It's really awesome. NECA have given the sculpt of the right hand of Dutch here some pinching fingers so that you can slot the feathers from one of the arrows between those pinched fingers and try to have him pulling back an arrow. If you're careful, which is a bit hard to do in a video, you can hook this string around it so it looks like it's taut. Haven't successfully done it here. And you can also see I've stuck that through the wood here just to hold it in place, but it's not really necessary. You could just lean it on top of this section if it's on display. It looks pretty nice. And while this figure isn't as versatile as the others, because you can't just drop it into any setup you've got, it does really represent the Predator movie well, so I'm pretty glad to have this. Look at the back there, that's so nice. Next up is the NECA Water Emergence Predator. So he's kind of half invisible. He's made in a translucent plastic with paint put on to give the solid colours, as well as like little lightning effects where his camouflage is malfunctioning. It's a pretty nice figure. At first glance, it looks to be exactly the same as the original classic movie Predator, but it isn't. So here's that guy, and I mean, definitely from the waist up, they seem to be the same. But when you get down here, you can see the original Predator has cut legs. They just swivel out like that, which is really shit and not so nice. When you get to this guy, he's got the more modern universal joints in here. Now you can see that's pretty loose, and I think that's because it's made of this different kind of plastic, this see-through plastic, and like he's a little bit floppy, so not so useful. I think I'm going to try to track down a more like a classic style with these joints in it. I don't collect Predator figures in general, so I haven't been buying the loads and loads that you can get, but surely out there's got to be a more classic looking one with the better hip articulation. It also comes with this very nicely done skull. I'm not exactly sure whose skull this is supposed to be, but I think it's the character Billy, the Indian guy who faces him man to man, because we do see his skull get torn out, but he is missing the spinal column, which I thought had come out with his skull, but looks very nice, very well done. That might be the best skull accessory that I've got now, actually. A nice thing about NECA Predators line is that the figures are scaled pretty accurately, so you can see there Dutch is definitely shorter than the Predator. It seems accurate to me from what I remember. A lot of toy lines out there put every character the same height no matter who it is, but with the Predator line, NECA have gone for a correct scale, and that's pretty cool. Next up, these two NECA figures are from the modern reimagining of the movie Carrie. Now, I think the actress from that movie is the same one who played Hitgirl. I didn't really want a figure of her. I wanted the original Carrie, and I think that was Sissy Spacek, maybe. Anyway, this normal one doesn't really capture the appearance of the actress properly, and in hand it looks very sharp, the nose looks very pointy, and it's not done that nicely. Like, it's actually showing up on camera here better than it is in reality. In reality it's a little bit ugly. Still, what I like is this one. When you get to this is actually scary. Look at that. That's just horrible. So she's covered in blood, all her telekinetic powers have emerged, and she's just killed everybody, which is awesome. And I think the face sculpt even seems to be done a little bit nicer. Some of that sharpness in the nose isn't there, it's more rounded. So that came off looking pretty good. Both of these figures have no articulation. They're just solid statues who stand there looking pretty. And I don't think I should have bought these. I had just seen the movie, like the original movie, and I was kind of hyped up for it and just bought it. But on reflection, I probably wasted my money. The final carded NECA stuff that I've got today is this Aliens Genocide 2-pack with the red and blackish alien. But on second thoughts, I'm not going to open this. I've been using it as a little table, like a platform, and I think that's what I'm going to continue doing. Maybe if I get the Alien Queen later on, I'll open these up, but you know, I've already got my other black version of this. I don't feel the need to get another one out. My quick final thoughts. I like NECA as a company. Some of their stuff is hit and miss, but they don't cost that much, so when you miss, you don't lose out too much. When you hit, you get something cool for $20, and what more can you ask? Some of them don't do much, like these are just statues, but these Arnold figures I would have paid a whole lot more for. I can't wait to just have them doing different things on my shelf. Predator probably could have done without. I didn't actually order him on his own. He came with some of the others, like him and one of the other Arnolds were packed in together. So all in all, I'm pretty happy, and these were pretty cheap. Got them from BBTS. If you like Arnold, I think that there's another version of Arnold out there using pretty much the same mold, which is the Heat Vision version. That can be a little bit more expensive to get, but it isn't as necessary to have. This has been my little uncarding of NECA figures. I'm odeean. Thank you for watching.